Good evening, PA Figs here. Wanted to do a quick tour and update of the orchard. Got a little bit of time, and let's see where things are at. So, first tree, this is going to be a long video, I'll warn you ahead of time. Brogiotto Nero, one of my two Brogiotto Neros. Today is, I don't even know, let's see, today is June 4th. And I've just got figs starting to form on Brogiotto Nero. Few figs starting to form, at least on this guy. I'll take a look at my bigger tree a little bit later, but yep, just starting to form. So that should put them ripe, well, if I had to guess, sometime early September. Martininca ramata. Now this guy here had some figs that overwintered on it. And I gotta be honest with you, I think it screwed up the tree. I think the tree was putting its energy into growth as opposed to figs because it said, "Hey, I've got a couple figs on me. I don't need to put out any more. Let me just start growing here," because I don't see a single fig forming anywhere. So go ahead and pinch a couple of these branches and we'll see if it makes any bit of difference on it putting out some figs. All right, next, I believe this is one of my unidentified trees. Somehow I lost the tag this past winter. If anybody recognizes this tree, it was in the greenhouse. If anybody recognizes what it was from previous videos, please let me know. I haven't had the time to look back at my old videos. I'm sure I've got one showing this guy, probably a little smaller. But this one does have some fruit growing on it. You can see them there. A couple of big fruit that almost looks like a Brabo, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Alright, next we have Coleodon grisi. Let's see. Now this one got sunburned pretty bad. I don't see any figs forming on it whatsoever. And this fig is a longer fig to ripen. So let's see. I'm gonna pinch up here, up top, because well, it's not. Let's try this guy here. I usually prefer a little more growth on them before I pinch, but if I pinch all these trees on this video tonight, it's gonna be 2 hours long. So let me keep moving. All right, here is another Coleodon grisi. This one did not get as badly sunburned, but you can see it still isn't putting out any figs. Maybe one up there. See it up there? Hiding in that crevice? There's one there maybe, but not many. Put that down here. Not seeing any down there either. Again, I'm going to pinch the top because I don't want this to keep growing up. I can barely reach it as it is. Alright, here we have a Manresa. Manresa, maybe a fig starting down there. Not seeing much on this, boy. Let's hope we pick up on the fig count in the orchard here, or else it might be a very tough season. I don't see any figs on this guy. Alright, this whole top branch, I need to air layer the whole dang thing because it is getting unruly. Alright, Black Madeira UCD. And I saw a couple figs on the other side, but normally this tree is very prolific and I'm seeing pretty much nada on it. I'm going to pinch just a little guy here. It looks like it's starting to maybe put out a fig. Moving on, let's see, what do we have? This is Blava. And Blava is starting to put out some figs. See him down here? See that guy starting? Up here, yeah, maybe a couple little guys starting there, still early. Not seeing much down here. Oh, there's another little guy starting. So they are just starting to come along down here. So it's starting to put out figs, great. Next tree. Oh man, we've had some really bad storms, you know, like tornado caliber storms, and it looks like several of my trees have lost their tags because of those storms. Oh, I've got it right here. So this is a Blanca Negra Ramada. I have to get a tag for that, but just in case I forget, part of the reason I do these orchard tours is for my own good, so I can look back and say, what was this tree again? Alright, Blanca Negra Ramada, and I don't think I've gotten any figs off of these varieties yet. It's not looking so good so far this year either. I'm not seeing much. Oh, maybe a couple starting down here. It's hard to tell if it's a fig or a branch coming, but we'll stay tuned on those. Next is Borgesot Grace. I'm starting to put out some figs, as you can see up here. I believe I got this from my good buddy Raphael a while ago. Always puts out just like 1 or 2 figs for me, and it's been very good. Looks like I might get a couple more this year, because almost every branch has figs starting at least, so we're getting there. Definitely putting out some figs. Good. Alright, next is Pote de Caval, and definitely starting to get ready to put out some figs. I'd like to see these a little further ahead, especially with the nice spring we've had. You can see there's, oh, wrong tree. You can see there's a lot of growth, but kind of slow to put out figs here, you know, so we'll keep an eye on it. Next we have Larg or Yarg, and it's got a much longer name from Pons's book. I just always forget what it is and never write it down. Let's see. And here's a branch that the storm pinched for me. No figs yet. Boy, I'm not seeing much of anything in this guy. So I might hit these with some bloom booster or flower booster. You know, I figure if it makes flowers put out flowers, why not make fig trees or fig bushes put out flowers? Fig plants, whatever you want to call them. Because I'm not seeing any figs on that guy at all. This guy is Colidam Nor, and not seeing any figs in this either. Boy, with such a great season that we've had, this is disappointing. I really did expect a lot of figs to be put out with all the growth we've got, but not seeing anything. Maybe the starts of some figs, but geez, I'd like to have seen them a little further along here with putting out some figs. You can see they're just starting. See that's probably going to be a fig in a branch there, but time will tell. And this is my Panache, which hasn't been doing all that well. It actually looks healthier now than it has in a while. Not real surprised not to see any figs on this one. This one died back hard, and then didn't handle the transition outside very well. But no figs at all on that one either. Whew, okay, that was a bad row in the orchard. Let's hope the next row is a little better. This is Martinenca Ramada, and you can see she is putting out quite a few figs. All nicely ramaded or variegated. On that one branch at least. The other two don't seem to have any. Funny how the one branch has a bunch and none of the rest. You can see this really got sunburned bad. It's trying to recover, but slowly. Next tree is I-258. Very good fig. Boy, maybe some figs starting up here. And this is getting way too tall. Time for an air layer. Some figs starting, but again, not where I'd like it. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to air layer this guy. Maybe down here. Just need more time in the day and less puppy to watch. Alright, this is my Basilica Sica. And you can see he's definitely putting out couple of figs here. Yep, that one's definitely starting to put out some figs. Every branch has figs on it. Very good. That's what I like to see. All right, maybe it's looking up here. Oh yeah, definitely looking up. Look at this guy. Now this guy cheated. It was in the greenhouse, but look at all the Bordeaux Negro Ramadas. I think it's, or this Coledom. Let's see. Bordeaux Negro Ramada. Look at all of them. Look at that guy there, mal-shaped because it's getting formed around the leaf. Boy, those are beautiful, aren't they? Look at those. They're just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, and these down here, geez, they're even prettier down here. Look at these. How pretty is that? Looking forward to some of those this year. And here's my other Bordeaux Negro Ramada. It also was in the greenhouse for an early head start, and you can see it is thanking me greatly. Really nicely formed Martenica, not Martenica, Bordeaux Negro Ramadas, BNRs. Beautiful. Every branch is loaded on them. It's almost like it's saying thank you for keeping me in the greenhouse this year. Oh, look at this though. Interesting. So over here, if you look closely, there's a couple figs. Well, they might be variegated, but not much. It's almost like one side of this branch is variegated and one side is not. And you see the bark is variegated on this side. Let's flip it over here. And I don't see variegation on the other side of the bark, so it's like the variegation's missing this one side. Interesting. I'm going to have to keep an eye on these figs and see if they stay green like that. Very interesting. Alright, and then down here we have Galicia Negra. So this one died back last year badly, and I was happy to see it come back. Got this from Bass. No figs on it yet. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to pinch it. I just want it to get some growth on it. It's got some sunburn, didn't transition real well, so I'm going to let that guy go. I believe this is a Coledom Blanca Negra, yep. And this guy is starting to put out some figs, which is good because they take a long time to ripen. And I haven't gotten a real good crop from these yet, at least not in the summer heat. And Coledoms, you really need that summer heat for. So that one's going well. This fig has not transitioned well outdoor at all. This is the Calderona de Minor. You can probably remember this from some of my winter greenhouse fig videos, but it did not like coming outside. And I did pinch up here, and here's a good example of pinching. You can see where I pinched, and right below it, it's putting out what looks like a branch and a fig. So keep an eye on those. Same thing over here. You can see putting out branches and figs. So a little behind schedule on this one, but coming along nicely. This is my Barnesote. Very underrated fig. Always have trouble with the SWD with it, but hopefully this year will be a good year. You can see putting out some nice figs. These have produced big, beautiful figs that are delicious if you can keep the SWD away. So Barnesote going real well. This is a small black Madeira that's grown like a gangbuster. I had it in the greenhouse for a while and didn't transition too well outside, but it's got quite a few figs on it and it's doing well. Doing real well. So keep that one going. What do we have over here? It's amazing how I walk this orchard every day, and yeah, I still forget what everything is. And you can see, look at the wind we had. Look what it did to the tag, the name tag on this. It actually bent it around the tree limb. That's how bad the wind was whipping here. But this is Black Madeira JFE. Okay, that's right. I put this Black Madeira by this Black Madeira KK by this Black Madeira KK, just to try to get a good example of comparison. And you can see this one still has some different leaf patterns than the usual, although it's starting, as it gets older, it is starting to look more and more like Black Madeira. A lot of spade leaves, so definitely one to keep an eye on. And we'll see. One thing I do remember is the fruit, when they formed, and they're starting to now, get very elongated, whereas you can see most of my other Black Madeiras are normally, now this was a greenhouse grown, so it's a little different, but normally they are pretty close to the tree limb. So I'm continuing to compare the varieties. For right now, I just label it Black Madeira JFE. I don't want to mix it with the other varieties in case I find out it is something slightly different. And here's the big Black Madeira that I had in the greenhouse. And you can see it's just loaded with figs. I mean, it's very rare that a Black Madeira doesn't put out a lot of figs, but you can see I do have a little bit of sun damage on some of them. But every limb is pretty well loaded. Gotta love Black Madeira. Alright, let's go around this way. Improved Celeste. Starting to put out figs on Improved Celeste. Even though they're small like this, it'll probably ripen before many of the other varieties. It just has a very short ripening season. It's a good variety for those of you in the Northeast where you have a short season. This might be my Coleodom Ramada. Let's see. Name tag. Here we go. Yep, Coleodom Ramada. And you can see all of the Ramada figs with the long necks. Looks like we should have a really good crop of these this year. Is this another non-Ramada? It's hard to tell. This might be a non-Ramada. Reverted. We'll see as they get a little bit bigger. And they also don't get much sun in the backside of it, but it'll be interesting to see because every other fig that I'm seeing has the variegated figs. So we'll keep an eye on those. This is White Texas Everbearing, a very good honey fig. And it is loaded this year. As long as I can keep the SWD at bay, these should be a very good fig. You know, for a good change. I still like the berry figs better, but it's nice to have a honey fig every once in a while. And you can see, this is what the storms did to a lot of my trees. They broke a lot of the branches off. You can see this one's starting to die, and let's just scratch it and see if it's green underneath. And it's still green, so I could root it, but we'll see. I got a lot of other stuff going on right now. Another I-258. Starting to put out some figs up here. Let's see. Yep, definitely some figs starting to form on it. Great. I look forward to those. Those are very, very good figs. I believe this is another... Nope, this is Genovese Nero. So I still strongly believe that these are the same fig. You can see the leaf patterns pretty much identical. And putting out figs about the same time, about the same size. So we will compare them again this year as they ripen. Either way, whether the same or not, they are both absolutely delicious figs and worth having. This guy is putting out quite a bit. Good. Don't have a clue as to what this is right now. Let's see. This is Bordeaux Negra. This is my Bordeaux Negra Ramada that reverted. So it went back to being just a Bordeaux Negra. Or the cutting got mixed up that I got when I got it. Certainly possible that somebody mixed it up. And it's just starting to put out figs. So I'm always interested each year to see if by chance any variegation comes up in this tree, especially like down from, you know, the bottom or from the roots. Not seeing anything yet, but either way, it's a delicious fig with or without the variegation. Not seeing much ripening though, so keep an eye on these and hope to get a few this year. But they better start forming now because we don't get a very long season here in Pennsylvania. So a lot of nodes form. I'm gonna start pinching a few, see if I can get it moving. All right, next guy. Hope I didn't lose another tag here. Sometimes I just can't find the tags. I see a tag right here. There we go. This is Black Ashia AD. Black Ashia AD, and it is putting out figs already. Just a good standard fig, very similar to Negrón or VDB. Probably the same thing, to be honest with you. and a couple Brabas still hanging on. I'm not a big fan of most Brabas, so they're neat, but not the tastiest. All right, what are we looking at here? Is this Rockaway Green? It is Rockaway Green. So Rockaway Green has always been kind of unhealthy for me, but it is putting out a few figs. It just grows very strangely. I don't know how to say it any better than that. It doesn't get real thick, and it just sort of grows wonky, for the lack of better words. Not a lot of figs on it, couple. Might be the last year for this guy. Alright, let's see, what do we have here? This is Mavrasica, and this tree did really well last year in terms of growth, and this year you can see it's hopefully going to reward me with figs. Quite a few figs. First year I get a significant crop out of this, so great. Mavrasica, looking good. And this one didn't get an early start or anything, so really coming along nice. Alright, now I believe this is my Angelo's Dark, yep. And Angelo's Dark is just a great fig. Very much similar to Chicago Hardy, but this one has always done much better for me. And I think the figs are a little bit sweeter on it, but very, very similar to Chicago Hardy. But really putting out a lot of figs again, so can't complain about that. And look how far ahead they are already. I mean, they're really nicely formed for a tree that didn't get a head start, so should get a great crop. What do we have here? Boy, I thought I labeled these all with multiple tags this year, and I can't find any tags. This is my Sicilian, my regular Sicilian. And there's my tag. Sicilian. That's strange. I could have sworn I labeled both sides of these things, but apparently I only labeled one. So Sicilian, and it's spitting out figs left and right. A decent tree. Produces very, very pretty fruit. Decent flavor. And producing nicely. Alright. I really can't remember any of the trees. So this is Norde Barbentan. And just starting to put out some figs. You can see them just starting to form on there. Nothing's too far ahead, but it is starting to produce. So that is good. Would have liked to have seen that one farther along for the amount of growth it has as well. Let's see, what do we have here? Here's the tag. This is Isbat Anaj. I don't know, this fig is not really wowed me. I don't know, but I still keep it for some reason. We'll see how it does again this year. Starting to put out figs. A little bit behind, but if I remember correctly, it's a pretty short season fig, so that guy will catch up. I believe this is my Soda Sicilian. Yep, Soda Sicilian. And I thought I had a Braba on this. You can see it's starting to put out main crop. Glad to see that. I thought I had a Braba. You know, the other thing with Brabas is they form on the old wood and they get covered up by the leaves, which makes them very hard to find. So now it may have ripened, may have fallen off. Critter may have got it. But I'm not seeing it. I'm sure somebody will comment on the video if they see it and I just missed it, but I, for the life of me, can't find it. Oh, wait, there it is. There it is. How the heck did I miss that? Look at the size of that sucker. So, looks like it is not formed quite right, but we'll let it go. See what happens. I think that was the only one I had on there. And another Preto. It's amazing how some of the same trees can be spitting out figs and other ones not at all. And I do wonder if the sunburn that these trees got affected them and slowed down their production. Kind of hard to tell, but pinch off a couple of... Oh, there's a fig popping out there. See it? Alright, and my big Preto. Again, kind of disappointing. Usually Preto is the one to never let me down. It normally is prolific with figs, and I'm not seeing much on it this year. It's a little early still, I suppose, but with the short season that we had, I really expected a lot of figs to be popping out of these. I'm just not seeing it yet, so I'll let it go a couple more weeks and we'll see what we got. Let's go check out the side of the house. Alright, a few more trees over here on the side of the house. Maltese Beauty, one of the most, in my opinion, beautiful figs. Starting to put out figs. It's usually very prolific. You can see it's got a few coming on its way. It's actually doing pretty well. Good. Really like that fig. This is my, what is this? Coleodon, another Coleodon Blanca Negra. Oh, and good. This one's putting out quite a few figs. So I'll hopefully get to see a few of these this year. Now this fig is called Blanca Negra. It's semi-variegated, as I like to say, because the figs themselves aren't variegated until it starts to ripen usually. You can see you don't see the variegation like you do on some of the other Ramadas on the figs, but we'll see what happens. This is Daloso, and Daloso has Noso figs. I don't think I got any figs off of it last year, or maybe one or two. This branch is not really doing too hot. It's growing, but it's not very strong, so good air layer. But I don't see any figs on it. Maybe one starting down there, but nothing yet. Not looking good for the year for that one. This is my Bifere, which is usually a very strong fig. And you can see it's way ahead compared to a lot of the other figs on putting out some figs. So always a great producer. Just a, you know, good fig. It's kind of like a Violet de Bordeaux almost. So, you know, nothing extraordinary, but puts out a lot of figs. It's called Bifere because it's supposed to put out a good Breba crop. I don't get very many Brebas from it, so don't even really worry about it. Ronde de Bordeaux. I did a lot of trim back on this, a lot of root pruning, and you can see it's pretty well rewarding me with a lot of figs this year. This is one of Teresa, my wife's favorites, so she will be very happy. But definitely a lot of figs getting spit out. And here's my big Brogiotto Nero, one of my probably nicest fig trees in terms of size and the amount of figs that it puts out each year. It's a little behind. I'm seeing figs starting to form, but nothing too extraordinary yet. You can see they're starting here though, and this tree is it'll catch up. Usually it ripens mid to late September. It's one of my later ripeners, but beautiful big figs if I can keep the SWD off of them. Alright, this row here for the most part is my poor performers. It's kind of like, don't want to get rid of them yet, but they don't really do too well. So Green Ashia, one of my absolute favorite green figs, but they take so long to ripen, I tend not to get too many of them. But it's got a good start this year. Definitely has some figs forming, so high hopes for that. What was this guy? This is Fico Bianco ? Still not positive on the idea of this fig. Been meaning to get rid of it for years. Not really putting out any figs yet. Might be the year it goes. Chicago Hardy. Just kind of keep it for cuttings for, you know, a lot of new folks to figs that just want something that'll do well in the Northeast. Chicago Hardy is probably your best shot for the Northeast. Great fig, somewhat cold tolerant, and produces. Oh, speaking of Chicago Hardy, my in-ground Chicago Hardy, even though we had a very mild winter, it died back to the ground, and I don't see anything coming up. The green you see there is one of those invasive passion fruit vines that I'm trying to kill off, but no figs coming back this year. My other in-ground tree that normally comes back from roots also died. So, worse winter than I thought. And lastly is Flanders. Puts out a great crop every year and pretty much never ripens, but it does have a Brayba to try. Last couple of figs in the front yard. This is a Dominic. It's barely hanging on, not doing great. I tried up potting it. We'll see how it does. Might spit out a couple figs. To me, it was very, very similar to Chicago Hardy. And my big black Madeira that I was really worried about, that I put that black sealant on. You can see it. It's kind of ugly all over the bark, but it's doing great. I mean, it really is doing well this year. And it's putting out some figs. Looks healthier than it's looked in the last couple of years. So very hopeful that that black sealant may have done the trick, you know, in sealing up some of this bark. You know, maybe just enough to keep the insects out, keep the moisture in, you know, whatever it was having problems with the last couple of years. But yeah, a lot of figs starting to be produced. It's in a little bit of a less sunny spot up here, so not sure how many of them will ripen, but it's looking pretty good. And my last fig tree, which everybody loves and it's kind of been a letdown for me, is Adriatic JH. Producing some figs. They can be good. I don't know. I guess I just, maybe I have different taste buds than others. Has not been my favorite fig in the past. Now I do have it in a slightly shadier spot. I mean, it gets sun up until probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It should be plenty. We'll see how it does this year. The last couple of years, it's been kind of bland. And it does also attract the SWD very, very badly. So I've really got to be better this year about spraying and trying to protect the figs. As much as I hate to use the chemicals, there's really just no chance for organic control while there's spotted wing Drosophila around. It just isn't going to happen. And on that note, decent figs forming, and that's the orchard. That's the status of the orchard in the beginning of June here. So keep everybody updated as the months keep going and we start getting some ripe figs. Okay, sorry for the long video. Hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm PA Figs. Have a great night.